As people gather today with their families, there's a feeling that the true meaning of Christmas has been overshadowed by the commercial appeal. So later on this hour, we're going to be asking, has Christianity at Christmas been diluted? It's something that we discuss every year. Pews are full during Christmas Mass, but quite a few more are empty throughout the rest of the year. So we'll be talking about that a little later, unless we have our guests now. I'm just hearing from my director. We've got some naughty elves in the gallery today. Not too sure if we have the guests or not, but we do. She's the Church of England's, a member of the Church of England's ruling body. She's Jane Azan. Jane, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Apologies for the confusion there. This is something we ask every year, and perhaps it should be a point of discussion the whole year round. Is Christmas, the true meaning of Christmas, being diluted? It certainly seems to be that people have more enthusiasm for attending Mass around the Christmas period. Would you say that's true?
It's certainly true that if people are going to go to church at any point during the year, they tend to go with their families at Christmas. And it's also true that we've got younger generations growing up who perhaps don't know the message of Christmas. But I think in these really difficult, dark times, people are turning back to their faith. They want to know the message of love. They want to know that there's hope and that there can be peace in the world. And so at the moment, I think people more than ever are returning to their little parish church, wanting to sing carols that will give them a sense of love and peace. And most of all, coming together with friends and family and showing the love that they know that God, I believe, embraces each and every one of us with.
And Jane, what's been the driver behind people wanting to get together today? You know, a lot of the Christmas messages, whether it be from the heads of religious organisations and churches or leaders of countries, it's been about the war in Ukraine. And I think a lot of people are looking at war in Europe and are really thinking about that when they're heading to church or wherever they're going today to gather with family.
That's right. There's a lot of darkness, isn't there, in the world today? There's a lot of fear, and we see a lot of evil. And some of the stories, sadly, coming out of Ukraine of real atrocities that are being committed today. And so we need to hang on to hope. We need to believe that there is goodness in the world, that there is love in the world. And the Christian message tells us that perfect love casts out fear. And the whole message of Christmas is of a little baby, a boy who's born into a really poor, desperate situation, very dark days where Herod is killing off babies. And yet this little baby, the saviour of the world, who embodies love and brings love to each and every one of us, can bring us hope. And I think it's that hope, whether people are struggling at home with the cost of living, where they're feeling perhaps abandoned by people because they don't know how they're going to make ends meet. But they need to know that hope is always alive and that life has purpose and meaning. And the biggest message, I think, of all is that we are loved and we are lovable. And that's why people, I think, are turning back to something that they see as good and holy, and that where they know that they can get succor and sustenance and encouragement.
Yeah, you know, peace and hope, again, that message every year. But you mentioned there just two of the crises that people are facing at the moment, and that is war and the cost of living crisis. And it's important to recognise the role that the church and religion has in helping people close to home, those struggling with the cost of living crisis at the moment, because I know, you know, a lot of people who may be watching us this afternoon are having Christmas on their own for various different reasons, but a lot of people struggling to have the Christmas that, you know, commercialism, capitalism tells us we should be having, whereas an organisation like yours is saying, you know, it's the simpler things that Christmas are all about.
That's absolutely right. I mean, many churches today are cooking Christmas lunches for people who are on their own. They're managing food banks. They're trying to have places where people can come and be warm. But you know what? I think the biggest present we can give each other is love, is ourselves, is our concern and care for each other. And that is free, isn't it? That is something we can, each and every one of us, do. We can look out for those who live next door to us. We can look out for people who are really struggling on the street. And it's that gift of love that I think makes us fully human. I like to think about Christmas. I've just posted on my own social media about the message of Mary feeling really quite alone. You know, she was miles away from home when she had a baby. Joseph probably feeling very invisible. He couldn't find anywhere for his wife to have that baby. And people feeling really misunderstood. The shepherds themselves, I bet when they returned telling people what they'd seen, everybody would have thought they were crazy. So if people are feeling alone or invisible or misunderstood this Christmas, know that that is all built into the Christmas story. But the good news is Christ came for each one of us, and love conquers everything. And as a Christian, that's what I truly believe. And I think that's where we see the best of in each other, is when we see the love in each other.
Yeah, whatever your faith or religion, it's a message that really breaks through, doesn't it? And I'm just going to put you on the spot here, Jane, as it is Christmas, and we've been talking about Christmas traditions and where they originate from. And I was just wondering if you had a sort of fun Christmas fact, it doesn't have to be fun, but an interesting Christmas fact about a tradition that's originated from the celebration of Christmas, from the Christian faith, that a lot of people might not know about.
Goodness. I don't know about from the Christian faith, but I think the whole giving of presents, you know, for me, it's become very commercialized, but it originally came from people who wanted to give, like the wise men gave, presents of worth, of value to people that they loved, to show how much they are loved. And I think it's that spirit of Christmas, isn't it? That giving, that selfless giving, which is at the very root of it. God gave himself to us as a present. God dwells in each of us as a present. That's what I believe as a Christian. And it's that giving and learning to receive. You know, actually, sometimes, if I could be really honest, it's sometimes quite difficult, isn't it, to receive presents. Maybe people are screaming at the telly saying, no, it's not. But I love giving. I'm not quite so good at people blessing me. But learning to give and receive, I think, is really key to each one of us.
Oh, well, Jane, that's really encouraging for some people not too far away, maybe me, that perhaps didn't quite get the presents right this year. As you said, it's the spirit of giving, it's the love and the generosity and the thought behind the spirit of giving. Jane, thank you so much. Jane Ozanne, who is a member of the Church of England's ruling body. Really good to talk to you this afternoon. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.